Hi again, everyone. This is Victoria English, top coach with Project 90. Who do you have drinks with? Do you have drinks with friends, your partner, colleagues? Well, if you're anything like I was when I was drinking, the one that you're having the most drinks with is your inner critic. What if I told you that 90 days alcohol-free is a great opportunity to put your inner critic in its place? And in fact, even learn to make friends with it. That's what we're going to talk about today. I'm really glad you're here for this conversation. Before we get started, I'm going to ask you again, have you gotten your hands on the Alcohol Freedom Formula? It's a free download. James, our leader, James Swanwick, has put so much effort into it. He created it for you. You know, when you're struggling with this alcohol thing, it can feel so lonely, but you are not alone because everyone in the alcohol-free lifestyle community has been right where you are, stuck, wondering how to get their head around this alcohol thing. So a great place to start is by downloading the book. Go to alcoholfreelifestyle.com/guide. Also, if you are a high achiever and you're getting so many things done in life, but this is just puzzling you, book a call with me, Coach V, as they call me in the program. You can do that by going to alcoholfreelifestyle.com/schedule. The link is in the show notes. It's 15 minutes. It's free. It's just a conversation. I'm not selling you anything on the call. I don't do that part. This is just an opportunity for you to talk to me. I'm going to ask you some questions. You're going to give me some answers, tell me a little about your story, and I'll help decide if and how we can help you. Maybe you're a fit for us. Maybe you're not. There's other resources available, and I'm happy to provide those as well. My goal in this call is to simply help you get on a path. So I hope you'll do that. Remember, alcoholfreelifestyle.com/schedule. Excuse me. I have a little frog in my throat. My daughter Aubrey celebrated her 14th birthday the other week, and we had a blowout. It felt so good to travel again, but we went across the country a couple of times. We went to 3 theme parks in Orlando. I discovered that I might be outgrowing roller coasters, but I'm going to fight that. Actually, I was laughing after I got off a big one, and I said, whoa, this feels a little bit like a hangover. I was a little bit dizzy. My heart was racing. My stomach was flipping, and I thought, oh, I don't miss those days. And you know, if you come along and join us, you're not going to miss those days either. So about that inner critic, when I was drinking early on, it was a lot of fun. And I didn't drink by myself. I drank with friends and we would laugh and have a great time. Alcohol served a purpose. Alcohol served me. As time went on, and I'm guessing this resonates with you, I was serving alcohol. I wasn't just serving it in a glass. I was serving it. It took up so much space in my head, that negotiation, that chatter. You know, I'm not going to drink today. I told myself I wouldn't drink today. Well, it's been a rough day. Maybe I should. The whole back and forth, it's exhausting. And, you know, toward the end, I didn't really want to drink with other people. I tended to just want to be by myself with my thoughts. And boy, those thoughts were not happy ones. How about you? You know, it would start with a glass. I needed that relief. Maybe it would relax me a little bit, but man, then the inner critic would pull up a chair and sit down with me. That inner critic, boy, oh boy, she was not my friend. In fact, you know, I've personified that inner critic and I've thought, if I were sitting at a wine bar and someone came up to me and said the things to me that my inner critic said, I would make a quick exit. Can you relate to that? Boy, oh boy, I'd be sitting there and she'd say, well, here you are again. You told yourself you weren't going to do this, but look, you're halfway through the bottle. You know you're not going to stop. Just go ahead and finish it. I mean, you never succeed at this. So just get it over with. And I would. And then she'd stick around. She wouldn't even go away when the bottle was empty. She'd say, well, another day down the drain, another bottle in the recycling bin. And I'd tell her to be quiet. And that self-loathing would come up, and I would turn it on myself. I remember looking at myself, brushing my teeth. They were purple from the wine, and just saying, God, Victoria, when are you ever going to get this? What is wrong with you? It's such a sad place to be. But, I'd go to bed. The inner critic would sit on the edge of my bed, just waiting for me to wake up. Often I would wake up, like a lot of us, at 3 a.m. What is it about that hour? Well, there actually is a reason that we all wake up at 3 a.m. And I explain that in our coaching. Because, we coach around alcohol as a substance. What is it? What is it about this damn thing that just draws us in again and again and again? So we get to that in our coaching. But yes, I woke up at 3 a.m. like a lot of you. Maybe you did last night. Maybe you just woke up at 3 a.m. and you're listening to my voice. But yeah, there she'd be, 3 a.m. Well, you did it again, Victoria. You broke your promise to yourself. And I probably had broken a promise to a family member. Just that letdown. Wow, here I am. And the anxiety of getting up in a few hours, because life doesn't stop, does it? It sure didn't for me. I had all my responsibilities to take care of. And I looked at that day ahead with dread. I wasn't thriving. I wasn't waking up and going, man, it's going to be a great day. I think I'll reach out to a friend that I haven't talked to in a while. I think I'm going to try that new fitness regimen that I saw. Hey, spring is coming. I want to get my core strong again. Hiking season is a few months away. Let me get it together. Yeah, there was none of that. I was just sitting there with the inner critic. And then she'd wake up with me and I'd pour my cup of coffee, and there she'd be. Well, I don't know if that caffeine is going to do the trick to get you through the day, but good luck. And I'd say, well, I'm done. Today is a new day. Forget you. Get out of my face. Let me have my coffee in peace. I'm done with you. And she'd just kind of wink and smile and say, sure you are. Does that sound familiar? That's just a rough way to live. And how much of it comes down to the alcohol. If we weren't drinking, it doesn't mean that inner critic is just going to disappear. That inner critic might still be hanging out with all her negativity. I'm going to read you a few things that my inner critic would say to me. So it's day 1. I'm not drinking. I'm committed to not drinking today. Maybe she steps aside. Maybe she goes for a walk around the neighborhood, and I feel really happy about that. And so I get through that day, and the inner critic's like, well, yeah, good job. Wonder if it's going to stick. And I'd say, I feel different this time. I think it's going to stick. She'd wink and smile and say, okay. And I'd go to sleep. I'd wake up the next day feeling pretty good. And she'd say, Victoria, nice try. But this is, you are flawed. There is something wrong with you. You're never going to stop thinking about alcohol. And that would just rattle through my head. Also, the other things that I would notice looking back, I craved validation. I craved it from others. I would work out really, really hard to prove that I was strong enough or pretty enough. Why did I do that? Well, looking back, a lot of it was to quiet the inner critic so that I could say to the inner critic, okay, look, I know I've got this alcohol thing going on, but look at everything I'm doing. Look at me when I work out. Look at me when I cook a healthy meal. Look at me when I have on a nice outfit and my body looks really good. Look at me when I'm being a friend to others, even if it crosses a boundary and is a time sucker, an energy drain. But look at me. I'm good enough. The inner critic would say, yeah, you can do all that, but you're still not enough. Because this alcohol thing has got you in its grips. And good for you, Victoria. You're not drinking today. Let's see how long it lasts. Does that sound familiar? Eventually, I would go back to the drinking. And I would say to myself, I am a bad person. I am failing my children. I am failing at honoring my health. I am failing at taking care of my mental health. Because you guys, like everyone, I've had mental health challenges. But when I was drinking, I was in such a cycle of anxiety and depression that I really began to believe that was part of my makeup, that I was just a depressed and anxious person. I could put on a front with others, and sometimes they'd believe it if they didn't know me well enough. But if they hung around and I let them in, they saw me in that cycle of just overwhelming, crushing anxiety, fear, all of that stuff. And boy, that just made room for the inner critic to remind me that I was broken.
Is it time to give your liver a break? Have you been punishing your liver for many years with seemingly innocent alcohol use? If so, I invite you to show your liver some love by enjoying natural supplements from my supplements company, Swan Vitality. The Swan Vitality Liver Cleanse contains my own concentrated formula of powerful natural antioxidants scientifically designed to cleanse the liver and support blood circulation. Just take 3 capsules every day with your evening meal with a half glass of water, and you will love the results you will see and feel. Swan Vitality is 100% natural, safe, and effective. To get started on your Swan Vitality journey, I'm inviting you to enjoy 15% off your first order. Just go to swanvitality.com and use the code James at checkout. That's swanvitality.com. Use the code James at checkout to trigger your 15% off.
It's interesting. I interviewed Anna Lemke, and that interview will be coming out soon. Maybe it has by the time you listen to this podcast. But she said in her studies, when she met people who were struggling with substances, alcohol, for example, that after a period of time, I believe her benchmark was 30 days, that 80% of the people who came into her study complaining of depression and anxiety, 80% of those people no longer reported symptoms of anxiety and depression at the end of 30 days. That's remarkable. So does what I'm saying sound familiar to you? Have you been in this situation? If you're listening to my voice, I'm guessing you have been. So here's a little exercise for you. If you have a pen and paper, I'd like you to jot down for just a minute or so. Jot down what your inner critic says to you. Take a moment and don't hold back. You can do it in your car. If you're in your car, say it out loud. Take a moment. I'm going to set my timer for 1 minute. Ready? Go. Set timer for 1 minute. Okay, 20 seconds. Okay, and stop. Did it just flow out of you? All the things, all the harsh words, all the negative comments? Flows like that bottle of wine, doesn't it? And I'm not making light of this. I say this with compassion. So here's an exercise that I do with our Project 90 members. I have them do that exercise. And then I have them read it to another person. So my name's Victoria. Let's say I'm in a meeting with Sarah. I have them read it to Sarah. I would read it to Sarah, but instead of saying, Victoria, you are flawed. Something is wrong with you. Your family hates you. You're never going to get this. I read it to Sarah as I'm saying it to Sarah. So I want you to do that right now. Think of somebody that you love, somebody you care about, and read back what you just wrote about yourself as if you're saying it to them. Sarah, you're a failure. Sarah, your family hates you. Sarah, this is making you gain so much weight. You look terrible. Sarah, look at your skin after a night of drinking. Oh my God, you're ugly. That is such a powerful exercise because you know what? No one can get through it. Can you get through that? Can you say to another person what you just said to yourself? I'm guessing you can't. It's so painful for us to say those words to another person. And yet it flows out of us when we're saying it to ourselves. And what does alcohol have to do with that? Well, when we drink, we are making a royal feast for the inner critic. We are presenting them with a beautiful buffet to choose from. We are reinforcing all the things that the inner critic says to us about us. And you know what? Our brain believes what we say. If we tell ourselves over and over again that we are all the things our inner critic claims we are, it is more likely that we are going to behave accordingly. It's just like a child. We all know the importance of validating children, of finding their strengths and commending them and helping them to amplify those strengths. And when they have some faults or weaknesses, we don't shine a spotlight on that. We might say, hey, I noticed that you're struggling in this area. How can we help? How can we help you grow? Because that's what loving people do. And yet we don't do that with ourselves. And like I said, when we're drinking, we just give our inner critic a megaphone. Is that how we want to spend the rest of our lives? I couldn't stand it anymore. And, someone did that exercise with me. They had me write out my inner critic voice and they had me read it to another friend. I couldn't get through it. And they made a suggestion, and I took that suggestion to heart. And I'm going to make the same one to you. Could it be possible that you could find an ounce, a tiny seed of compassion for yourself? You didn't choose to develop this bad habit with alcohol. You didn't start drinking and say, I think I'm going to drink enough of this stuff that I get dependent upon it, that I become dependent upon it, and I need it. And I don't mean need it like I'm going to, have tremors if I don't have it. I mean, I need it to get through the day. And when I don't have it, I'm so miserable. None of us planned that, right? Nobody. But here we are. And here's the fork in the road. I'm on the other side of that inner critic ruling my life. And it started with what I'm offering to you, a tiny seed of compassion. I looked back at the 30-something-year-old Victoria when she was going through a lot of things: death of my mother, a divorce, 3 young children, running a Pilates studio, managing clients, managing 3 children, all of whom had their own struggles because they're little human beings. And I drank the Kool-Aid. Society said that this would help me. This would help me manage the stress. This would help me juggle all the responsibilities. This would help me sleep when my mind was racing. And over time, I kind of lost the choice. Wine was there. And so I'm guessing something similar happened with you. It's slow and subtle. So, can you look back at that version of yourself and just say, hey, prior self, you didn't choose this, it happened, but we're adults and we can make some choices around it. I'm presenting you with that choice. Can you take that little seed of compassion and trust me on this? Trust the thousands of people that we have helped. If it didn't work, you guys, we wouldn't be here. If we didn't have success stories, we wouldn't be here. Part of living in an alcohol free life, one of the requirements is authenticity. Um, I can't tolerate inauthentic people, and I've lost the ability to be inauthentic. I just don't feel comfortable in my skin. So I'm speaking to you from a very, very authentic place. This methodology, this process works. And you don't have to be completely ready. You don't have to say, this is going to be awesome. I'm going to do this. You don't have to be anything or anyone. You just have to be a person listening to my voice saying, you know what? I'm going to take a chance. Victoria keeps saying that this is worth it. And it sounds like she was a lot like I was, like I am. I was a lot like you are. Trust me. And if people who know me best, they see me now and they remember that old version and they're like, wow, you really went through it and you came out on the other side. And that's why I do what I do, because I have such compassion for that former version of me. And I have such compassion for you, our listeners. I'm passionate about my work because it matters, because it is so joyful to see people come through our program and have that compassion for themselves. It's very rewarding. I would love to work with you. I would love to invite your inner critic to the table, because believe it or not, once you get in touch with that inner critic and can approach your inner critic with, I'm going to say it again, compassion, you're able to retrain that inner critic. So just like I mentioned, children, when they stumble, we don't beat them up. We don't chastise them to pieces. We notice it and we approach with love and we say, hey, this is going on. What can we do? Believe it or not, that's how it becomes with your inner critic. I am completely aware that I'm not perfect. I have my flaws. But I can look at those flaws and say, all right, let's see where that came from. And let's create a vision of what we want it to look like. How can I take that flaw and actually turn it into a learning opportunity, an opportunity for growth? And that becomes, it sounds crazy, it becomes fun because I'm not beating myself up. And you know why? Because I'm not behaving this way because I'm drinking, or I'm recovering from drinking, or I'm thinking about drinking. It's just me being a human, making mistakes, saying the wrong thing, doing the wrong thing. Okay. But I can just say, you know what? I'm human. I make mistakes. Let's learn from it. And if I hurt somebody's feelings or say or do the wrong thing, I can say to them, hey, I'm sorry. I hurt you. And more often than not, people are receptive to that. Are people receptive to our apologies for what we did or said when we were drinking? Not after a while. It gets old and tired, doesn't it? That's no way to live. And you don't have to do it anymore. This is so much more than just putting down the drink. That's a wonderful surprise of this program. People think, oh, I'm just going to stop drinking for 90 days. You get in touch with yourself again. You get in touch with who you really are, not the person that shows up while they're drinking or the day after they're drinking. The real you, the real you. And your inner critic could become your friend. certainly going to admire you, and it's certainly going to know its place. So if that sounds familiar, if that sounds like something you'd like to experience, go for it. Book a call with me. What do you have to lose? Like I say to people, the liquor stores will be open at the end of this 90-day experiment. The difference is you will now have a choice as to whether you're going to go in. What would that feel like? Just to have that choice back. It's worth a shot. You've got nothing to lose. It's already spring of 2022. Can you believe it? So if you've been listening to my voice for a while, and thank you for that, book the call. Book the call. Do it for yourself. Do it for that little inner seed of compassion. Go for it. Until next time, I wish you a beautiful day. It's Friday here in Denver, Colorado. I'm starting to see some green on the trees. It's going to be a great month. I would love to have you on board going through this alcohol-free thing with me, with our community. We've got amazing people in there right now, and we're waiting for you. So until next time, have an awesome day and take care.
Here are 5 ways I can support you on your health journey. Number 1, the Better AF group support. You can go to alcoholfreelifestyle.com/betteraf. That is group virtual coaching to help you to stop drinking. The YouTube channel at alcoholfreelifestyle.com/YouTube. The book, Alcohol Freedom Formula, can be found at alcoholfreelifestyle.com/guide. My liver cleanse from my supplements company, Swan Vitality, at swanvitality.com. And protect your eyes from screens by wearing a pair of Swannies blue light blocking glasses from my sleep company, Swanic Sleep. You can find that at swannies.com. Catch you on the next one.